You've been there. You hop on 2K and for some reason it's bugging out the servers. There's a little bit of button delay or there's lag and it's cutting up. And you're like, I can't shoot in this kind of environment. So what I did instead was I went out there and hunted for jumpers that worked well through the lag so that when it's bugging, I can help myself and just equip the jumpers that work in those conditions. So I'm gonna help y'all here in this video drop a couple jumpers for you. They're fucking greens. Do you see this shit? It's greens on greens on greens and they work in any environment. So if y'all new to the channel, of course, be sure to subscribe. Let's try and get this video to a nice 4K likes. Let's get into it. Alright, so I'm gonna drop the jumpers, man, but I want y'all to understand something because I created these jumpers almost instantly. If we head to the first jumper I'm gonna be talking about, and it's a combination of a Kevin Durant base with the Kevin Martin release 1 and a release 2. What I'm trying to do here, and the reason I'm explaining this is because if you understand this and you can go out and create any lag jumper on your own. What I'm trying to do is start, originally when I'm taking shots, I have a clear cue for when I'm supposed to release the ball. But the problem with having massive button delay or lag is that if when you release on the cue, the controller keeps on going because there's that button delay and that continuously fucks up your ability to get greens. And so what I do is I artificially create that delay myself. So if you look at this release night right now on the right side of the screen, he goes up with the ball and when he's at the top of his jumper, he holds it for a little bit. And that's the button delay I'm accounting for. And so generally while I'll go for a cue where this is when you release the ball, when he reaches the top of his jumper or when his feet smack like this, or I have a cue for when I shoot. But when I'm shooting with this jumper here, I jump, I release on a regular cue, and the jumper does the rest. And so it accounts for the latency in the button delay. I found that the Kevin Martin release makes this really easy to do. Now you can switch this up and you can probably combine this with many different types of bases, but in my experience, Kevin Durant is a pretty quick one. And so this release for the most part, is a mix of fast and slow. You're gonna see Kevin Durant fast with the base and then Kevin Martin slow with the release, and so you find a neat little balance. Just taking a look at this jumper is clean as fuck, alright? So it takes care of the delay for you because Kevin Martin release is perfect with it. Generally, in good conditions, I would never recommend the Kevin Martin release because it's so tough to time it. But because there's a delay, it helps you time it. And so you're kind of using the delay to your advantage here. So, I mean, when it comes to dribbling, there's not much you can do. But when it comes to your shot, you can help yourselves like this. I recommend this jumper. It's clean as fuck. The one negative, though, about the KD base is you're going to find yourself doing leaning shots a decent amount. Y'all know those leaning shots where you jump up pretty slow because you didn't wait that second you needed to wait before you pulled up? That happens more often with the KD release. But what I found is that even through leaning shots, you can shoot consistently with this release, which is rare among jumpers. So the fact that I found this fairly quickly fucking boggled my mind because generally it take me at least a few days of playing, usually like a week before I found a jumper this nice. But if y'all down, this is a jumper right here. It's clean as fuck. But let's get into the second one. The second jumper is my favorite of the jumpers because I like slower releases for the most part. And it's using the same base, Kevin Durant base, but this time a Deron Williams release. Y'all don't sleep on Deron Williams. You can combine him with some fucking phenomenal bases to get some clean ass jumpers. Y'all taking a look at the shot. Listen, I'm telling y'all right now, do not be afraid of slow jumpers. This is gonna be a little bit of slower of a jumper, but in my experience playing 2K, if you have a slow jumper, you can take on more contests. With the quicker jumper, even a slight contest will fuck up your shot success percentages. With the slower one, trust me. So don't think that just because you have a quick release and you know someone doesn't contest you, that's all good. You know, there's a place for good releases, but I rarely see people fucking with slow releases. And I mean, if you're comfortable with your shot and you know you're nice with it, I guarantee you that extra shot contest that comes with slow releases that you can take is well worth it. Which is why I like this release. It's not too slow in that like even open shots are somehow contested, but it's just right. Where it's not too fast, you feel like you're rushing your shot. It gives you time to think about your shot and time it. But the cue for this one is easy. The cue is pretty much identical to the cue you generally use on a Kevin Durant release. So much like the previous release I mentioned, this one you jump up and then there's a delay, and it's so beautiful the way I use the delay to the advantage. In the same exact release, you hit the top of your jumper and you release. This is probably the easiest release, and it's the reason why I like it is I don't have to think too hard when I'm playing. I'm releasing it at the same cue I would for a regular Kevin Durant release. Except this time I have Deron Williams combined with it, and I find that I have even more success with the jumper. So it's a clean ass lag release. This is my new go-to, unless of course I run across something amazing during more of my tests. But in the tests I've done, these are the two that I found to be the most effective. Again, don't sway away from the slow jumpers, I promise you, especially if you're a really good sharpshooter. If you notice you're missing open shots anyway, it's gonna take a decent amount to get used to some of these jumpers, especially if you haven't used them ever before. But I recommend you start with the Kevin Martin release one. If you're not a good sharp, or you're not a good playmaker, or whatever the fuck you are. But if you're nice with your shot, I recommend you move on to this one, because if you can get this one down, man, it's a beautiful thing, man. It's a fucking beautiful thing. Shout out to Darren Williams. I don't see anybody talking about this release, but it's one of my favorites, man. And even with my old sharp, Darren Williams was the release for it. But in that one, it was way too slow of a release because of the bass on top of that. But I mean, this is what I found, man. If you've watched my previous videos, you know the type of stuff I look for when I'm creating a jump shot. I mean, if you missed it, I did many videos like that in the past. I'll link them in the description so you can watch them. But Kevin Durant takes a step on his shot. That's error number one. On top of that, he leans a lot on his shot. There's a lot of things that if I was to do my checklist, my regular checklist, Kevin Durant wouldn't check out. But for some reason, when you combine these two shots together, even if it's leaning, this shit still works. And I actually get a decent amount of greens leaning with these jumpers, which is fucking insane, because even on my OG, I can always fall back on beautiful ass fucking jumper. When I'm leaning, it's very difficult to get green. So the fact that you can get it here is amazing. And on top of that, the others, like, yo, both these shots in terms of limitless range, oh my god, man, especially the Darren Williams one. It's crazy how nice they are from agent range. So that shouldn't even be a question if you have limitless range and you like to pull from deep. Anyway, if y'all have lag jumpers, because that's what I figured out. I figured out if 2K is not gonna fix this fucking service, I can't sit here and continue to complain. Well, I am gonna complain about it, but I can't sit here and just continue to take L's. And so what I'm gonna do instead is take some W's and start creating jumpers that work in the lag and in the latency with the button delay. So if you experience that happening and that shit drives you crazy and you're looking for a jumper, here it is. If y'all new to the channel, man, be sure to subscribe. I'm gonna catch you on the next upload. I'm out. Peace.